All right, well, welcome to another episode of Lorcana Chats. I am Chris, aka Questing for Lore, and today I have a very well-known member of the Lorcana community. He's got a show that's kind of a little out of the usual kind of stuff, but Breezy, you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Well, hello everyone. I am one half of Lorcana After Dark. Yours truly, YBreezy here. Yeah, I mean, you kind of did the best explanation of what the show is. It's a little unusual, but it's not at the same time. I mean, it's funky. I let the guests be loose. We have a good time. I think there's a lot of fantastic shows out there that are already kind of capturing the serious and like the meta analysis and like what decks are being played and break down the new cards. I think there's already phenomenal people doing it. And I wanted to kind of twist it up a little bit, make it a little bit just more about cherishing and admiring the game that we're playing rather than kind of dive in. But we do bring that up. Like I saw that short, but like we had the winner of Chicago on the show last week. So we do talk about
Right.
that type of stuff. But at the same time, it's more about learning about the community. Yeah, I think people are enjoying it. I don't understand it, but yeah, it's been a great time. This is the first time doing content creation for myself, so I'm learning everything as I go.
Okay.
There's no script or anything. There's no questions that I'm aiming to ask. Over the last about I want to say about 3 months now. I've not prepared once. Not That's not a good thing, but it's just one of those things I want to be able to kind of have a general idea what we're gonna do, but not really because then I stress about how everything needs to be perfect. So I don't want to do
Right.
that anymore. So I just want to let loose, and it's Lurk on After Dark. So gotta have fun a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think what are you up to? 28, 29
I
episodes
kind of
now?
stopped doing numbers because I misnumbered them
Okay.
a few times already,
All
and
right.
I came to conclusion that like, let's not do the episode numbers, but we're catching up. I believe if I actually had to number them, I'd be around 32, which
Okay.
is great because it's twice a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays. I want to catch up to like the bigger shows already, like we're let's talk Lorcana, the lovely people at Illuminator. Shout out to Liam and Aaron there.
Hmm.
But they're at episode 43, I believe. So I'm trying to catch up. I'm getting there. I want to be the first Lorcana content creator to have 100th episode. So
I was gonna
that's the goal.
say.
That's the goal. So we're going to get there for sure.
No, well, twice a week, you'll probably get there pretty quickly, honestly.
It's yeah, it's a fun. A lot of people thought I would get burnt out. I don't see it happening anytime soon because of the lack of preparation. I think it really helps me kind of focus on what the show is, the two
Hmm.
hours we got, and inviting people. I have returning guests, which is like really important to me because I want people to be familiar with the people and not just have new people come in every time. So I have some recurring guests as well, just brand new co-host, which I'm in love with.
Yeah.
And Yeah, everything is just going okay. And I don't think it's gonna stop. I told myself the fact the moment that it gets not fun is the day I stop, and I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a good way to do it, right? You
Yeah,
don't want to force it, especially a show like yours, because then people
right.
can kind of tell if you're going through the motions. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
So,
exactly. And like, I'm not the best player in the game, so I'm not gonna be able to break the game down or anything like that in the level that my co-host R&B can do, and my guests can. So I think I provide the energy that I think this game needs in the sense of like it's a
yep.
positive game, it's a great game, and I think we should be excited about the way I am about this game because it's Disney card game. It doesn't get better than that. If you're a
Right.
fan of the franchises, if you're a fan of card games, the gameplay itself, like the pictures could have been other cards, and we still play the game. I think in the sense of it's a great game by itself.
It really
Just
is.
yeah, exactly. Like the mechanics are fantastic. The lore system is unique and interesting, and just the biggest plus is just the franchise we all fell in love with as a kid. So now
Yep.
we're kind of forever like interested in it as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they have gotten, not to discount it or anything, but they have gotten some amazing artists. to
Oh my
create the
God.
art for these
Yeah,
cards.
absolutely.
I'm
Artists are
constantly amazed.
it's only getting better. Like I
It
think
is.
it was Nicholas Cole that said like after set three, the artists were kind of given the idea of what Lorcan is going to be rather than just beginning stages. So now they're more familiar with the game. Not maybe not they don't play it, but they understand the importance of this game and they understand where this game is to compared to other card games, which is kind of up there. And I think the artists are going to only step up, and it's only going to get better. And I'm
Yeah,
really excited for it.
definitely. Yeah. Well, speaking of other card games, have you played other card games in the past?
Yeah, not to the extent of playing Lorcana. To be honest with you, is more always been the casual player. I
Hmm.
played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon TCG. Mostly Yu-Gi-Oh was my kind of bread and butter. I've been to a few YCSs here and there, but I never really took the game seriously. It was just more of a hobby.
Yeah.
I still I still enjoy the creators of the game because I think Yu-Gi-Oh content creation is like one of the best out there, if not the best, in the sense of how unique it is, how different it is, and how the community is close together in the sense of they are all making content together.
Hmm.
I really enjoy that aspect of it, and but yeah, I keep up with that. Pokemon, I used to collect it heavily. I played it a little bit because it was really cheap to get into. It still is. I think Pokemon is like $60 to $90. You can get the best decks in the game, and that's
Oh,
really
wow.
nice
That's
for
quite
any
a
player.
difference.
It's a huge difference, and I think Pokemon is a great game to play as well. There's a lot. It's super easy to learn, similar to Lorcana, but hard to master as well. Similar
Hmm.
to Lorcana as well. But those two are kind of been my main two games I played, TCG wise. Magic the Gathering, I've played a little bit. I mean, I play Commander, but like, I have a Slimefoot deck, which is like mushrooms exploding, doing one damage at a time. Just a
Yeah.
fun deck, but other than that, just Commander only. But that's about it. Other than that, I played Digimon. Didn't really like it,
Okay.
even though I thought the power system was very unique. It was a little too fast paced for me, says the Yu-Gi-Oh player I know. But I think those that game kind of got a little wasn't my style. And then yeah, that's really it.
Okay. Cool.
And then One
Yeah.
Piece I'm
It.
waiting to play. One Piece I'm gonna play once I catch up. That's the game I will
Okay.
play once I'm watched all the episodes.
Yeah, I
But
see so
I'm
many people
far.
talking about it. Yeah.
It's so long, but I'm gonna do it. I'm working my way through. It's fantastic. I'm in love with it, but gosh darn it, it's long.
Well, it's like a couple hundred episodes or something, isn't it? I forget what it is.
1100.
Oh my God. That's way more than
Yeah.
I thought.
There's 1100 episodes, and it's not over. So
Holy
like
cow.
potentially it'll be at 1400, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
So
Okay. Well, more power to you. Keep on
yeah,
keep on watching.
I
Oof.
will. I will. But yeah, that's
Um,
the TCG for me.
oh yeah, well, cool. Well, so content creation. I know you mentioned
Yes.
you still watch some of the Pokemon content creators and still enjoy that. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think there's anything that you've kind of learned from those people that maybe you're bringing into your own creation?
Um, I think Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh content creation is like the big ones for me. The Yu-Gi-Oh one is the one that I'm kind of influencing myself the most in the sense
Mhm.
of like what we're doing is different than any other card game at this point that are like big in content creation because we don't have an online client in the sense that
Right.
it's not official, so it makes to be 100% honest, like the it's a little iffy for content creation because I don't want to be red flagged. So Pixelborn was a weird one. I started streaming it, but I realized that it wasn't what they want. Even though
Right.
Lorcana After Dark as a brand is not going to be something that Lorcana wants to associate themselves with,
You
which I
never
understand.
know. You never
Um,
know.
I,
Yeah.
I understand. I understand their target audience, but I wanted to do it my way, and I'm at the point where I'm confident and okay with what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And I know I'm not playing with anything that they don't want me to do, other than say words. So
Hmm.
if that's something that's an issue, then there's nothing I can control because that's just how the show is going to go. That's who I am. I'm not going to really change that.
Right.
So I wanted to do that. I wanted to influence the Yu-Gi-Oh because there's a lot of goofy stuff. The game itself, a lot of the content creators I watch doesn't take the game seriously. It's more fun. It's more other side things that they're doing that I really want to be able to do in this card game. But until
Hmm.
we get online clients to be available, it's going to be a little hard. But other than that, Lorcana After Dark itself, it's really influenced by the Pat McAfee show. For the few sports fan that are also in the Lorcana community, it's a 3 hour show every single day, Monday through Friday, from
Holy cow.
12 to 3, and they talk about sports all 3 hours.
Hmm.
And it's a lot of energy. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's never really scripted. There's a lot of guests coming in and out, which is something that I really wanted to uh, input in the community, because I wanted to have people come in, out, get familiar with the stuff, make friends with, and it's just kind of becoming more of fluid show where people can come in, out, and it's fun, it's relaxed, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. And that's the biggest thing I
Yep.
wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've built up like this whole kind of brand around it too, you know? I mean, besides Cusco and the shoeys and, and all that kind of stuff.
And
I
it's
think
organic.
it
It's
is.
just
Yeah, it's
it's
great.
everything's just so organic. And like the Shui thing was just kind of happened because one person said I look like Tuvasa, a UFC fighter that does Shuis, and
Okay.
kind of that day, like that episode, all I could think about was a shoey. I was like, let me just do it. If someone gifts me some sort of, like, if someone gifts like 10 subs, I'll do it. And they did. And then it kind of became a thing. And like Cusco just always been one of my favorite characters. So it
Hmm.
kind of, the moment the game started, I was like, this is the best thing ever. So I think that's the best thing about it. Like, I don't like to look at my own show and analyze it in that sense, but it is getting to a point where everything is kind of organic. I'm not literally, where no one's forcing anything, and it's just working, in
Yep.
the sense of people are kind of interested in it. And I'm never going to understand why. It never going to make sense to me, but it's something that I enjoy as well. So we're going to keep
Mhm.
doing it. And it's just a good time. And that's all we
Yep.
want to do at Lorcana After Dark.
Yep. No, I'm interested because you started off by yourself, right?
Yes.
So what was the decision around bringing in a co-host?
Um, to be honest, the show is 2 hours. The show is 2 hours, and I would have two guests over, and it was great. I had a great time, and it was
Mhm.
all energy. But I came to a realization of that, like, there are dead air moments that I could get rid of if I had someone else.
Right.
In the sense of, like, I don't prepare questions, but like I will have questions because I'm genuinely curious at what people are doing, how people are thinking, and like that's something that I genuinely had. But I wanted to have a second brain that would bring in information that would have a different perspective on how the game is,
Mhm.
without really changing what Lorcana After Dark is.
Mhm.
And I kind of put it out there for just anyone to be interested in. And Nye was one of the people that were genuinely interested in it, and it worked out. He was fantastic. I mean, he's one of the smartest people I have ever talked to, and also one of the funniest at the same time. So I had to take that as an advantage and have him on the show immediately. And it was a great month and a half. And he just one day he just was a bit. He's a busy person, and
Yep.
he said,
Yep.
like, he let me know, like, hey, I don't want to like miss shows and like let you down. So I rather just let you know that, like, I rather, like, if you want to find someone, you can. And I was like, sure, I understand. Like, life happens first. I completely understand. And he always have an
Hmm.
open invitation. He told me whenever he can, he will be on the show. So he's always going to be a host within the show. And then for the ones that don't know Lorcana After Dark, R&B is a regular. He likes the show by itself. He pops up just on his phone to say hello to us. And after I learned Knive was kind of stepping down, I hit him up, and he was more than excited. And
Nice.
I couldn't be happier. I mean, I say R&B like he's no big deal, but like he is one of the bigger streamers that ever streamed Pixelborn.
Hmm.
He was averaging about, I don't know, like 100 people at a time. No big deal to another thing that he's a Golden Mickey owner. So like that's
Okay.
a
I didn't
top
know you
eight
had one.
player. Yeah, he's a top eight player. He
Nice.
topped in Atlanta with Blue Steel, which um, he kind of innovated that deck more than anyone else, I think. There's like three names that are always working on the Zoolander, and he's one of them. So his input is very important.
Hmm.
So I couldn't be more happier to have him on the show, and that was kind of the best decision I did. I think having a co-host.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like it's a nice balance too, right? So you've
Mm-hmm.
got you that's kind of the community, the
Yeah.
personality kind of thing, and then you've got the technical stuff on his side, and the show just kind of meets him in the
Right.
middle.
And he's hilarious, so it helps too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
these people are like one of the best players in the game in the world, and these humans are like absolutely amazing people that are hopping on the show. RMB is like one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, and he just happens to be one of the best players to ever play this game. With how much of a difference he's making in in just one specific in color, but overall just one of the best players to ever touch this game.
Yeah, definitely.
So
So
uh,
I'm curious, how did you get started with the show? Did you just decide to do it or?
yeah. Yeah. So before, like I said, I started streaming Pixelborn
Mhm.
when the game first started coming out. And one of the things I wanted to do was reveal a card one day, and kind of figured out Pixelborn is not going to how you get there, even though
Mhm.
some people that did play Pixelborn got one, which is a confusing situation. But from my end, I wanted to not do it. So I wanted to do it the right way. And I still wanted to talk about the game. I still wanted to make something happen. So Lorcana After Dark kind of got created. I wanted to make a late night show. I didn't know exactly which way. I thought about doing like a talk show, Jimmy Kimmel type, but
Mhm.
I just didn't like the logistics behind it. So I wanted to do more of a Pat McAfee show style where it's 2 hours. It was originally 3 hours, but I couldn't make it day one. So we're just going to
That's a
cut it to
long
two.
time.
I was like,
Yeah.
3 hours, we can do it. I was like, no, they talk about sports. So it's like multiple sports. This is
Right.
just one card game. So I was like, I physically can't do it. Which I thought about doing all TCGs, but that's a whole different project. But
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of how that went. And yeah, my first episode was I had I had the fantastic citizens of Lorcana on the show,
Hmm.
and kind of did great, and kind of snowballed ever since. My first show, I had Lorcana Talks and Citizens, which are like two huge names in the field. And
Hmm.
then second episode, I had B squared. So like kind of started off big, and it kind of snowballed ever since. The idea was just to have a good time, and it kind of worked out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I can't remember exactly the first episode that I watched, but it was pretty early on. So
Yeah,
it, it's been great to see the show evolve and and change and not just like, okay, we're just gonna keep doing the same thing because that's what
yeah.
works. So
No, also another thing that why a co-host was really nice and is going to be really nice is because like I was busy, and like we kind of had the show going, and it was changing within it because he gave me an idea of like, instead of doing the 30-minute blocks, we can kind of just fluid it so people can
mhm.
come in and out kind of looser. And I really like that. So I took that idea, and now it's kind of in that form, where people can come in around like anytime they want and leave around the hour to 2 hour mark whenever they decide to. And now my new co-host RMB, he's coming up with new ideas to create more segments and stuff like that. That might be
Oh,
really
nice.
nice to have with guests to kind of start off the conversation. And it's just a never ending of like coming up with new things we might want to be able to do, especially with the show kind of finally for me having its legs where I kind of want it to be, where I can kind of generate that. Like I don't have to think about what we're doing as much. And now I can think about how to get creative with it rather than get used to the tech, the talking, the interview styles, the all that. So I feel more comfortable there. So now I feel like now we can put creative input and change how everything is a little bit more even.
Yeah, yeah. And I have to admit, I admire you guys for doing it live. I don't know if I could do anything live.
Uh,
I'm too comfortable with the pre-recorded kind of thing,
mm,
but
live is great. I couldn't do it any other way. I think I would get too caught up on everything. So I
mhm.
have to do it live. If I don't do live, I wouldn't the live or kind of after dark wouldn't exist if I had to edit that thing. Because I would just cut it to pieces and it wouldn't be what it is now.
Yeah. So what's
So
the biggest thing that you've learned from doing the show so far?
I think the biggest thing is I don't know. It's tough. The biggest thing I learned personally is, I mean, I keep doing this, but how open and accepting and like how close this community
Hmm.
is something I really learned because like these people that are on the show that I get to talk to and call myself friends are people that are like the Illuminators. Like they've been on the show multiple times. Brandon's been on the show. Like these people are like work like the villain, the Lorcana villain, someone that I physically watch on a regular basis, been on the show, talks to me on a regular basis. And like these things are so unreal to me because they don't like these people I admire in the sense of they inspire me to do what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And the fact that like everyone in the community has been so open, so welcoming, so supportive has been such a crazy experience that I didn't think would happen. And like the imposter syndrome on a daily basis is very, very real when it comes to that show. Like people like people message me or like they say they love the show. I'm like, how, why, what is happening? Like we're just making things just I don't understand. Like it's imposter syndrome on an everyday basis. But the community has been nothing but like amazing. The people over at Labyrinth has been so supportive of like how they are open with giving me players in their guest lists.
Hmm.
Just everyone's just been so helpful, and that's something I didn't expect. And I'm learning that like don't be afraid to ask questions to people. That if you're interested in them being on the show or like doing what you're doing in content creation, they will be more than happy to help you because they want to grow with you. They want to help other people grow. And if they can invest in 30 minutes of their day or like an hour of their day, they will because they want this community to come up with more content, make more stuff. And if they like it, they're gonna support it. And that's something that I didn't expect because I thought it was gonna be more not fierce, but like I thought it would be a little bit more like competition based because
Right.
it's and then the content you want to get clicks more than everyone else, but not in this world. It's been similar to what Yu-Gi-Oh has in the sense of like content creators show up on their friends channels all the time. They're regulars on there, and it's very similar to that. And I think like understanding that has been something that I really enjoy. And the biggest thing is just not be afraid to DM someone.
Yep. Yeah.
Like the worst they can say is I'm busy, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I think Brandon said it too. Like that was one of the first thing that he told me about it is was like don't be afraid to reach out to people. Like it won't hurt to say can you do this or do you want to do this? And I think that's what I'm learning to do. And now people are reaching out to me to do that. So it's a weird cycle, and
Yeah.
it's just the community is amazing, and like learning that just people want to help you is very huge, and
Oh yeah.
it gave me so much confidence that I didn't have before.
Yep. Well, and it's nice to have a community where there's so much already. I mean, the game is basically just starting out,
Yeah,
but you already have so many different kinds of content. It's not
exactly.
just the deck analysis. It's not just, a
No,
talk show kind of thing like yours. There's so many different kind of in between stuff too.
right.
And it's really cool to see it grow and, to see the community grow. There's new creators popping up all the time.
You know,
And so it's really cool to, get different people's takes on the same thing. Sometimes everybody looks at the top deck lists and has their own interpretations. So it's really cool
absolutely.
though.
Yeah, and that's like the best part about this community has been just everyone's just good people so far. Like
Yeah.
it's just I've had there's not a lot of bad experience I had in this game, and coming from other card games, that's it's hard to say that to about other card games. In my honest opinion, so it's just been really fantastic, and it's only gonna get better. Like you said, it's first
Yep.
year. Like we haven't even completed the full year just yet. Like
Which is crazy. It
and I
seems
feel
like
like
it's just grown
right,
so much.
it's
Yeah.
been I feel like it's been 3 years since the game came out. And no,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's only been less than a year since first chapter came out. Like it's insane. Like we knew about the game before that, but no one was able to play it other than Pixelborn when the game first out
Mhm.
till first chapter, which we still haven't gotten the year mark. So it's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so if you had one piece of advice to give to somebody, or more than one if you want,
Yeah.
for somebody that wanted to kind of get into the content creation game, what would you advise them about?
Ooh, I know I get the answer to this question. That's crazy. I ooh, that's tough. Um, Understand that there are a lot of content that is already out there.
Hmm.
In the sense of like it's not saturated just yet because it's only been less than a year, but it is saturated in the sense of there's a lot of similar content you're going to be able to find. You have to make it your own without looking like someone else and making sure that you are yourself no matter what. And I think the biggest thing I can say other than that is don't try hard. Like, don't over fixate on certain things. Just do what makes you happy. Just do what gives you joy and try to be different, and everything else will kind of fall in its place. And don't be fixated on numbers super early on because it's not going to look
Yep.
great. Like being
Yep.
able to just be okay. Like for example, I still don't look how many viewers I have until end of the show. Like it just I will have that number off no until I close the show because
Hmm.
it's just not fixating on that. Just being yourself, being open about it, just having fun with it is everything. Because if you're having fun with it, other people are gonna kind of fall in love with it, and
Yep.
that's all you can do. Don't try to be the fun person if you're not looking to be that. Just be yourself. Like just do what makes you you, and everyone will kind of follow.
Nice. Nice. I like that. I know that there's a lot of, well, I know there's a lot of people that are just starting out that they watch those numbers like a hawk. It's like, oh, I
Right.
got one new subscriber. I mean, that's great. To get new subscribers is
Right. It's
awesome,
fantastic, but
but that's
again,
not the
that's
goal, right?
it shouldn't be. It should not
Yeah.
be that. It should be a secondary or third goal. For me, is did I have a great 2 hours with my friends?
Hmm.
Yes. And everything else is great. Like it's just something to look for. Like I care about did I have a good time and did I offer someone else a good time? And if I can answer those two questions, yes, I did my part. I did everything right. And if someone followed me that day, I'm happy. Like don't get me wrong, at the end of the show we will shout you out every time you follow and subscribe. We will do all of that. But at the core of it, it's not for me, it's not that for me. It's to enjoy the time we have, appreciate the game that we're playing. Because if I can offer someone 2 hours of just a good time and get rid of their daily normal life problems because we talked about the Disney
Hmm.
card game, I think I did my part, and that's all I really want.
Yeah.
And more people tuning in is fantastic, but my goal is to just close my worldview for a bit. Just don't worry about whatever's happening outside and talk about how great Cusco is or how great this deck is. Like that's just all we want to do for 2 hours. And then we can go
Right.
back to our problems, no problem. But that's the biggest thing. And that's what I want to be able to do. And that's what I feel like people should do is just look at their content as some escape for someone else. And if they can offer that,
Hmm.
they did their part. And if other people want to watch it, fantastic.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's great. I love it. And you do such a great job. You you and R&B and Knive and everybody that's been involved in the show, that y'all have done such a great job with everything. And it is so nice. I mean, I know we've got, our Monday night shows, and now, yours is Tuesday, Thursday. I'm sure there's going to be something else that comes along that's
Wednesday
Wednesday or
slots are wide open.
Friday. Yeah,
Fridays
yeah,
are wide
yeah.
open.
Yep.
Weekends are wide open. So
Yeah.
there's availability
Yeah.
there. It's just figuring out what they want, what people want to do, and what is there to do. Like there's amazing content creators that are on YouTube as well that we don't see on the Twitterverse or Twitch as well. So there's so
Hmm.
much out. Instagram is their own beast. TikTok does its own
Yes.
thing. It's just
Yep.
so much different places for opportunities for people that want to be interested in it to do that.
Hmm.
And it's the perfect time to get in. Honestly, it's still so new. So, and there's a lot of I see a lot of potential holes in what can be done. It's just not something I would do, but there's a lot of opportunities to be done, especially if anyone's interested in other card games to be able to kind of mimic what is out there to Lorcana.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. And I'm glad you mentioned the other platforms too, because that's kind of an interesting thing that I've noticed is that there's a couple of creators that kind of cross over. I mean, you do yours on Twitch, but it also broadcasts on Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sorry, X, whatever it's
yeah,
called.
yeah, yeah.
Um, It'll always be Twitter in my heart.
It's always Twitter.
Um,
Yeah. I'm tweeting. I'm not
but
posting. Sorry, just not
I
gonna
yeah,
happen.
I know, right? I still do that. Um, but you have the Instagram folks, but then you have people like Rebecca that have kind of crossed over between, the Twitter world and the Instagram
Yeah.
world. And it's really cool to see so many different kinds of creators on different kinds of platforms because the content is just different, right?
Yeah.
You have stuff on YouTube where it's like deck analysis and really getting in deep. But like on Instagram, that stuff is kind of there, but it's not really made for that kind of thing.
No. No.
And some people just naturally gravitate towards that, right? And it's
Yeah.
it's nice to have, some other stuff to look at sometimes.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the usual shows are, kind of you looking for something new. And so, you know, go over there and
Absolutely.
discover something different.
Especially in the time frame we're about to enter where we kind of figured out the meta. Like obviously there's going to be some changes throughout decks and all that fun stuff. Like we're going to see some
Hmm.
tech calls, we're going to see some interesting meta calls, we're going to see some interesting rogue decks for sure. Like we're seeing Amber Emerald under the sea decks show up, like weird ones.
Yeah,
We're going to
yeah.
see that here once in a while, but I think we're going to get to a point where these deck techs are not going to be as fruitful within like that month and a half ish of hype train of the new set.
Hmm.
So those are the time frames where you can make a lot of different content and kind of highlight everything else as well. Like the new stuff that Instagram does, like Illuminary, like Rebecca does, I think is phenomenal. Like whenever that's like drop season, like having those stories on the go has been like phenomenal. Same
Yep.
thing with Lorcana Girl. She does similar stuff with that as well. Fantastic content creator herself as well. And just like the emphasis on like being able to be on point with their news and making sure it's good content, skits and stuff like that that are really
Hmm.
different than what your YouTube is. And I think there's a lot of huge opportunities to really benefit from it in short time content, and they're
Yep.
doing amazing over there, and they're really killing it out there. I
Yep.
don't have the creative mindset like Rebecca does, but like people like her, they're amazing, and they're just gonna do so well, and I can't wait to see them just keep growing and be better.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Well, and then you have all the other kind of things like podcasts and everything that's out there. I don't know if I can keep up with them anymore, honestly. There's only so much time in the day to listen to all this
Yeah,
stuff.
and that's kind of the problem, like the beginning points of that, like content creation that we discussed. Like my advice is still like just try to be different, because if not,
Mhm.
unfortunately there is other ones out there that I like people would rather watch.
Yeah.
And and that's the biggest difficulty, is like finding that how am I different than the Let's Talk Lorcana and This Week in Ink has been the biggest issue that I had when I started it. Not issue, because like I love them so much, like they're amazing people, and like I talk to them and they're just, I love them and I want them to do better than me every single time they do their show. But I wanted to be different because I didn't want a person watching and be like, oh, why am I watching him over Brendan and John T and
Hmm.
Liam, and like I just wanted to do something different because it's the same concept. It's not much different when you break it down, but I think what we offer is a little bit different than what they have, and being able to do that is really important. Like I be similar but not the same is
Yep.
very important, and it's just so much. So you want to be able to kind of get that attention without copying exactly.
Yep. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked a lot about some of the people in the community. So, what do you think the Lorcana community as a whole could be doing better right now?
Um, better. I don't know. Like that's a tough one. Like because we are doing everything so well in the sense of compared to other card games, we are super united. We have less discourse. There are some small issues here and there that popped up.
Of
Even
course.
I was involved in some. But like I think but again, it's going to be kind of a promoting thing. But I think the best thing we can do is promote like other groups, like Love to Lore people,
Hmm.
similar to just any group that might not be get their voices as much as heard. Get their channels more attention, more because the more people can get there, better. Because a lot of like minority genders are looking for that. Um, so just promoting other outlets for people to be interested in is something that we should be doing more of.
Hmm.
Like I try to retweet as much as I can if I see content that I enjoy. I think more of that is better. But other than that, I think we're doing the great job at being accepting, being okay with it, being welcoming because it's a lot of people's first TCG.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of the time, I think Lorcana is doing a great job at it. I think we just got to keep at it. The I think the one big thing that I can talk about is like post Pixelborn, we have to be a little bit more united in the sense of with like real play network and stuff like that. We have to be able
Right.
to kind of connect together a little bit more to play these games more because it's going to take a little bit more effort
Hmm.
and more need for showing decks on like local tournaments, like 1Ks
Right.
and
Right.
$500 tournaments. Because like right now, deck building is going to slow down for
Oh
just
yeah,
public.
dramatically.
So
Yep.
so we want to be able to have those information a lot faster. So give those like if anyone goes to like a $500 tournament, an enchanting tournament, like 40 people, 30 people, doesn't matter, we want those deck lists in the top four, even top eight, just to see what's happening in I
Hmm.
don't know in like Iowa or Ohio, wherever small LCS is doing um any type of tournament with like 20 plus people. I want to see who's winning. I want to see what meta is over there just to be able to compare because it's now we don't have those 10K tournaments like the pack did. I mean,
Right.
they're going to be back. I know they're going to be back, but like right now
Yeah.
it's slowing down. So I want that to not stop until we figure out what's happening. I know the pack is coming back soon. So it shouldn't be too bad, but I want to see more of that come up because without it, I think the deck building is going to slow down quite a bit, and it's kind of happening
Yeah.
already. But I
Yeah.
don't want it to end like that because I want to see funky decks show up every once in a while and see what's happening over there.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting, I talk to a lot of people that they go to multiple game stores, and
Yeah,
they say like even already the meta is different between them.
yeah,
There's just so much, and they may be, an hour apart. And you would think, oh, well, it's a lot of the same people, a lot of the same. No, no, it's all
no,
things are kind
no.
of shifted around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works, and I think we need more of that to be public information. It's
Hmm.
just going to require a lot of us to be trying to get that information to individuals like the Lorcana villain, like the goons, like those people that are always posting the best decks on the spot, so
Yeah.
they can have access to what's going on, so people can see it. Like thousands of people watch those things, and we want to be able to highlight what's good at all times. Because if not, it's going to slow down. I don't want to happen that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think we got a little spoiled with Pixelborn to be able
Absolutely,
to just kind of
absolutely got
pick
spoiled.
up
But
the
now it,
latest stuff. And yeah,
yeah, and it's expensive. So like, I don't want to spend $700 on an Emerald Steel
it
deck right now.
is.
I want to
Oh my
play with
gosh,
it
it's
before, and I
ridiculous.
don't like proxies. Like, I get it, proxies are a thing. I
Yeah,
understand, but I don't like proxies. I just don't. I don't know why. My brain just doesn't like it. So like, I would like to have the cards before I play them, but I don't want to do that with Diablo being $50 a pop. So it's just
right.
one of those things like I want to be able to play them for cheaper and like see if I like it before I buy it. Now I can't do that. So it's a weird
Yeah,
thing. I mean, I can. I'm being very stubborn about it, but
yeah, yeah,
still, I just can't do. I don't know why. It just physically bothers me to see proxies. I it's lovely. I support it, but it's just for me. It's a me thing. I
yeah,
support it.
yeah,
I proxy it if you don't want, if you can't buy it. Like, do not do what I'm doing. But it's just I like seeing which card I'm playing without writing it down. That's just me. It's a personal thing, so it's weird. That's why I love the online clients. But now that
hmm,
being honest, a little weird for me. But yeah,
yeah,
it's just going to be really important to have those communities come up together so we can play games together, so we can
hmm,
learn together.
yeah, definitely. And I'm so glad that stuff like the Real Play Network and even some of the other Discords out there are kind of kicking off, not like strictly like ranked play like Real Play is doing, but they do have it open. It's like, okay, here's how to set up a game, here's how
Yeah,
to, set up a webcam and, and all the kind of basic stuff to really give people a
right.
guide to kind of get started.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great. It's great. And it's only going to get better. I think with
Mhm.
more options, more outlets, we're going to be able to do webcam play better, and it's going to constantly evolve until we get an online client one day. Who knows when?
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
expect it anytime soon. So
Oh no, no. But I mean, I hope that, you know, it- we all know it's coming eventually, right? That's just the
eventually
nature of
they
the
have
game
to.
these days. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
I
but
don't
it's
so I don't know. I actually don't know if that's the reality that we're gonna have, but like
yeah.
if Lorcana wants to be the top card game out there, like
Mhm.
Magic, like Yu-Gi-Oh, like Pokemon, they have to do it because if not, games die. Bandai did it with
Right.
a lot of their card games. They didn't make an online client, made it really difficult to play the game, and let their card games die. We saw a lot happen with other card games. They just didn't have that online client that people can just like pop up for 8 hours a day and grind ranked or whatever they want to grind.
Hmm.
So the need is huge. Those three games I mentioned, Magic the Gathering Arena exists. Fantastic platform. I mean, debatable on how their microtransactions work. That's a whole different conversation, but it
Yep.
exists. You can do it. Pokemon TCG Live is actually just used for Pokemon Company as a tool to get people into the card game. So
Hmm.
like accessibility of cards is within the physical cards you buy. And codes are like dirt cheap if you just want to buy codes. You can buy like
Right.
200 codes for like $20 and open
Oh wow.
200 packs, no problem, and have access to all the cards you want and then some. Like you can style your cards with for $20. You can get
Hmm.
the alt arts and all that stuff, no problem. And Master Duel for Yu-Gi-Oh does a similar job at like crafting cards is so cheap. Yes, there's a investment fee of couple like you have to spend some money, but just that crafting system and like have that option to test out decks that is a little bit off meta, off whatever the paper format is, but still be able to play the card game is
Hmm.
so important, not only for content creation that Yu-Gi-Oh sees, but also to be able to play the game just regularly and constantly. So you're never out of the loop when you're not going to an LG like LCS
Yep.
where you might not be able to do it for a month because you have work or you have to be home at 10 o'clock rather than your usual time, or
Hmm.
just not be able to drive 30 minutes that day because you have something. So it's just very, very important that the online client has to exist because it offers just the game to people that don't have the access at that time. And having that 24/7 just is fantastic. But we need
Yep.
it. I don't know if you will get it, but if the Lorcana does care about being the best card game, we have to get it. We have to get it.
Yep. Yep. No, I agree. I think that's going to be a huge part of it. And I know it has the backing of Disney and, and all that kind of big prominent, IP and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, ultimately it's the game, right?
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the mechanics and the flow of the game being nice and working really well, but I mean, that only goes so far, right? You
Yeah.
still need to have the community, you still need to have the players,
Absolutely.
and these days, I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, the success of Pixelborn should be a pretty big, a pretty big indicator to them
Six
to
million
say, hey,
games.
this is something that the people want.
Mm-hmm.
Now what it ends up looking like might be, different than what everybody's expecting. But,
Who knows?
I agree. I think that's going to be a huge piece of it. And
Yeah. It has to
hopefully,
exist.
yeah, yeah.
It has to exist. We have to make it
No.
happen because, like, if not, I think it will. It won't die. I don't think this game will die, but it will get to a point of where it's similar to I don't know. I hope not Digimon, but it might turn into Digimon if there's no online client. Like
Yeah.
or like yes, you see some gameplay. Yes, like Dragon Ball Z, the
Hmm.
before their revamp of the online client and stuff like that was a dying card game because they promised their fan base they were going to get an online client. They never did, and they just changed the card game to Dragon Ball Super, and now it's a different card game. So it's a weird system that they chose to do, and it shows that like Dragon Ball is one of the biggest animes. Like, wow, how is it not one
Yeah.
of the biggest card games? It's because of that, and it's just it was because there was no online client. I don't know. There's a lot that goes in it, but we desperately need an online client. Give us the option to play ranked. Give us the option to play draft. Just let us have fun,
Yep.
please.
Yep.
Just please.
All right, so besides an online client, what would you like to see in the game's future? Either
Uh,
actually, in the mechanics or just in general.
Um, in general, I would like to see. Um, I don't know. I really don't know. I think the mechanic wise, I would like to see a little bit more on more graveyard effects would be nice.
Hmm.
Especially with how the game is being played right now. A lot of discard heavy stuff is available, and I think Lord kind of wants to have discard as an option, a viable option. I do genuinely think that's going to be a thing because there's a lot of discard heavy cards.
Yep.
So in order to kind of combat that, I hope we get more graveyard abilities, more banishment abilities, and more things that will help you if you get your hand ripped out of you.
Yep.
Um, so I would like to see more of that. Something that interacts with the inkwell, I think, would be interesting. I don't think ink destruction is good, but I think something that does a little bit more than
Mm.
just ramp would be interesting.
Yeah.
Like if this card goes into the inkwell, something happens, just a little bit something extra. Might be hard
Okay.
to maintain, but it'd be interesting. Other than that, I think mechanic wise, everything's kind of gonna slowly get better. I'm not too sure. Game wise, I would like to see like a futuristic mecha themed set at one point, like a just a space themed set that
Hmm.
might be really cool. I like space themes. I think that'll be cool. At one point in the official Discord, we're chatting about giving Tinkerbell like a mecha suit. I think that'd be like a fantastic idea
That'd
with
be
that
cool.
kind of, yeah. So like that'd be a cool theme, like robot Kronk or whatever,
Yep.
just
Yep.
alien themed. Like give us more Stitch cards, more aliens.
Hmm.
I think that'll be interesting. I want more themed sets because I feel like Inklands kind of gave me that vibe of like, oh, we're doing like pirate ships adventure vibe.
Right.
I think I want more of that. I think I really enjoy I want to see like a samurai set or something related to that. More of like themes. I think we're getting a stat in the new Shimmering Skies as well. I think the set is more of like party,
Hmm.
dab, like just more of enjoying your time racing stuff like that. So I want to see more of that because I really like that type of mechanic rather than just here's a bunch of cards, no relation.
Right.
Like Rise of the Floodborn kind of did that. The first set did that. It was like, hey, there you go, a bunch of cards, go crazy. And Inkland's kind of changed that and Return to Ursula is similar. So it's like here's a bunch of cards that are kind of Ursula themed. So I wanna see more like general themes, like space themes, and like it'll
Yep.
be cool. Like horror theme, like spooky theme for Halloween would be great. Give us Nightmare Before Christmas, please. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. Yes,
Um,
please.
just waiting for that day because I would like to lose all my money to open up a enchanted Jack Skellington and not pack him. Stuff like that.
I'm disappointed. Not an enchanted Oogie Boogie.
I mean, Oogie Boogie is my favorite villain of all time. Simply, we'll get it, but like, I would again. Oogie Boogie would be great, and that's another card I
Yeah.
would love to
Yeah.
see. Give me a gambling effect on him as well. Let me roll some
Yeah.
dice because it just
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
If Oogie Boogie doesn't have a random or a gamble effect, I don't want it. But yeah, I think that's about it. That's just everything. Make Amber a little bit better.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I think every other color is being played heavily other than Amber right now.
Hmm.
So I would like to see a little bit more Amber love in the next set. Specifically, not that we need more Steel Song in our life, but it'll be cool. And yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of all the things I would like, and make Mufasa more of a playable deck again because it was
Nice.
great. Now it's gone, and I really like that. I really enjoy that deck style. And just give us more. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and did you see the new Mufasa art that popped up on Twitter
Yes.
earlier?
Yes. We don't know what it is. It just kind
No.
of it's an interesting choice by Lorcana to be like, hey, there's a picture. Go look at it. To
Hmm.
celebrate Lion King, which 30 years is crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, we don't know what it is. People are speculating. It looks like You've Forgotten Me, but it's not. So it's
Hmm.
weird. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's a Dreamborn Mufasa that does
Yeah.
something in the
Could be.
grave.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, and no one really knows what it is. So it,
No,
it looks gorgeous. Though I want it in a matte
it
form. Like I
does.
would love to
Yeah.
see that on a playmat.
Oh yeah.
But set already one card in, and we already like, wow, this art is fantastic. So it's only gonna get better from that.
Yep.
Mm-mm.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I appreciate you taking the time out of your
Of
day
course.
to let me, ask you random questions.
Uh-huh. Of course.
Speaking of random questions, I have my last three questions that I like to ask everybody.
All right.
So first off, favorite ink and card right now?
Ooh. Well, okay. So,
Well,
I
it could be from a previous set or something like that. It doesn't have to be recent, but
well, I mean, legally, I have to say Cusco.
how did I know?
Like, my favorite card is Cusco. Both versions. I think Llama was better, just
Hmm.
overall playability wise. But I love the Emerald one more. Set one Emerald Amethyst deck was so fun to play before
Hmm.
the like. It's just such a fast deck. Like turn one drop, turn two Flynn was just so powerful. Turn three Cheshire Cat, turn four Hans, turn five Cusco. You just oh my god, I missed that deck already. Um, but like um Cusco definitely my favorite card. My favorite ink overall though, like it's tough. It's weird, I know, but I really like Ramp. So I love Sapphire just because I
Okay.
love Ramp. I exclusively play green on Magic, so like Ramp is one of my favorite things to do. Um, so yeah, so Sapphire. And what was the third question?
Oh, it was ink and card, so I think you got it covered.
Oh,
Unless you have
okay,
any other
cool.
cards you'd like to talk about, but
Big Giant Tink, one of my favorite cards of all time. It
yes,
still is.
it's a good one.
My first pack, I got a Giant Tink, so
Oh,
I
nice.
do have a familiar. I love that card. What else? What else do we like? Yeah, those two I think will be the ones I want to say to top.
Yeah.
I really like. Um, yeah, Mufasa. I love Mufasa. Mufasa mechanic
Yeah.
wise is one of my favorite cards to actually play. Right now, like I want to make Ruby Amber work, even though it's not the best deck in the format. I genuinely love the Mufasa mechanic so much.
No. And cool. All right. Next up, favorite Disney film. I think this one's pretty obvious, but
Yeah,
I
it's
have to
pretty
ask
obvious.
it, you know. Yeah.
The Emperor's New Groove is definitely my favorite Disney movie.
Hmm.
But if I had to like give more, just so it's not too obvious, Nightmare for Christmas.
Hmm.
And if I have to give you a Pixar answer, Monsters Inc.
Okay. So the
Those
first one or one of the
the first one.
sequels?
The first
Yeah.
one. University's all right, but the first one is
Yeah.
iconic, yeah.
Nice.
And the show was okay.
Yeah, yeah. You never know when it makes that jump. It's kind of hit and miss
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. It wasn't necessary as well.
Yeah.
Huh?
All right, well, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, people can find me at twitch.tv/YBreezy. We go live on that silly little show we like to call Lorcana After Dark. At 9 p.m., 11 p.m. Eastern time at again twitch.tv /YBreezy. Or you can catch me tweeting about Cusco or other terrible memes I find or make at X, formerly known as Twitter, at YBreezyS. Again, that's YBreezy S because someone took YBreezy and I'm haunting them every single day. But yeah, you can find me at those places. And yeah, that's all you can find me on. I mean, Instagram is personal, so I don't. I mean, it's same thing. YBreezy S if you want to actually just see me do life stuff. But other than that, Twitter and Twitch are your spots at YBreezy and YBreezy S.
Nice. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you again. I appreciate
Of
it.
course.
And keep up the great work with Lorcana After Dark. I look forward to many, many more shows. I mean, you got to get up to that 100, right?
Got to. And again, thank you so much for working with me with the scheduling, and thank you so much for
Yeah.
inviting me. This is this is my favorite thing to do more than Lorcana After Dark is just hopping on, just talking about this card game and just enjoying everything. And I love being on other people's shows. It's my favorite thing to do because then
Cool.
I just yap and it's good time. So thank you for inviting me. It's an
Yeah,
honor.
of course.
Yeah. So thanks so much again, and it was a blast. I had a really good time.
No, good. Me too. All
Awesome.
right. I'll see you around the community.
Boom, baby.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode. If you liked what you heard, make sure to subscribe and rate or like us on your platform of choice. If you'd like to reach out to the show, you can email us at lorcanachats@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter or X at LorcanaChats, the podcast at podcast.lorcanachats.com, or just lorcanachats.com. We love feedback on the show, and let us know if there's anyone you'd like to hear from in the Lorcana community. See you next time.